This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. FlexiSpot sent me the best desk I've ever had, which is their Comhar electric standing desk. As the name says, it's a desk that you can adjust the height for so that you can stand while working, playing, or anything at your desk with the simple press of a button. Whatever reason you're at your desk for, it's important to not be sitting for super long periods of time because it can cause back pain. As someone who's spent a lot of time sitting, I know how it feels to get back pain from it, and it is not great. A while back, I talked to my doctor who actually recommended this desk and told me they also use it to help them not sit for super long. Honestly, it's one of the main reasons I decided to accept this sponsorship. It's just so convenient to be able to stop sitting while at the same time still doing what you were doing at your desk and not be hunched over or something. The desk also comes with USB charging ports and a drawer to help give you more space. FlexiSpot is going to be having a Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale where you can get up to 70% off of their products with free shipping from November 24th to the 27th. Make sure to also follow their Amazon live streams where they do free giveaways. If you're interested in getting one of these desks, you can check them out by clicking the link in the description. You'll not only be getting a great desk, but you'll also be helping support the channel. Hey guys, Larry here, and for today's video, I'm going to talk about one thing I love and hate about every Smash game. I saw people doing this topic on Twitter a while back, and I thought, you know what, why not jump on the trend and make a video about it? For this video, I'm going to tell you one thing I absolutely love and hate about each Smash title. Some of you might remember I actually made a video already talking about one thing I hate about every Smash game. But don't worry, I hate more than one thing about every single Smash game, so the things I mention are going to be different from the previous video. If you want to check out the first thing I hate about every Smash game, I'll have that linked in the description. I want to add that I'm not going to be using online for any of the entries because I feel like it's just way too easy to hate on, and I want to try to give you more impactful things that can affect both online and offline gameplay. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Smash 64 is a game that started off the series, and due to that, there are a lot of things missing that would become staples in future Smash titles. Depending on who you talk to, some of the additions would take away from what people enjoyed from the previous games, while others felt the changes were absolutely necessary and they can't go back to playing the previous titles. The thing I love about Smash 64 is the hit stun. Smash 64 seems like the most extreme when it comes to a lot of things, especially hit stun. It feels like you can do just about anything to your opponent as soon as you land an attack. Due to not having an air dodge and defensive options being limited, it's really difficult to do anything once you get hit. At higher levels, you'll see players making it more difficult for you to combo them due to having insane Smash DI, which is the only way you can DI in that game. Regardless, the hit stun and the ability to be more creative with your combos feels extremely satisfying and unique to 64 in my opinion. There's a reason why there's a combo contest every year at Super Smash Con for this game and none of the other titles. The thing I hate about Smash 64 is that some of the best stages aren't playable in multiplayer. Metal Cavern, Final Destination, and Battlefield are all only available in single player mode. I think that is an absolute tragedy, and I'm sure those stages would have gotten played a lot if they were available on multiplayer. Obviously in competitive play, this would be a dream come true for 64 players since the only stage that is currently being played on in tournaments is Dreamland. Out of all the stages, my personal favorite in 64 has always been Metal Cavern. I think the stage looks cool and has always stood out to me. I think it also helped that the song that plays on the stage is by far my favorite song in the entire game. It's really surprising that they never bothered to bring the stage back in any of the official titles. This stage isn't really played on multiplayer or single player mode either, but it still bothered me that they created a whole stage for the how to play segment and just didn't bother to make that a playable stage. It's crazy to think about this, but 64 to Melee is the shortest it took for a successor to come out in the Smash series. The development of Melee took roughly a year, which is insane considering how much was changed and added within that time. Plus they were working on an entirely new console that was barely getting released. It's also one of the most actively played Smash games to this day and where I started my competitive career in Smash. So it's a game I hold very dear. The thing I love about Melee is its movement. When I first started playing competitively, sitting around just trying to get my movement right felt completely rewarding. It was so satisfying to finally be able to pull off something you spent countless hours practicing. Melee's movement in general is the most polished of the Smash games to this day still, thanks to how responsive dash dancing and wave dashing feels, plus the lack of input delay. The great thing is that even when you do get something down, it just feels like there's something else for you to work on and practice, but in a good way. Considering it still has a pretty large player base still actively playing and competing is a testament to how rewarding the gameplay feels. It's a game where I can easily just move around while listening to music and vibe doing that. The thing I hate about Melee is the edge mechanics. most notably the intangibility you get from grabbing the ledge and how easy it is to abuse. For some characters, being put in the corner is not a bad thing at all, since they could easily retreat to the ledge and then force their way back on stage using the intangibility they got from grabbing it. A character like Fox can grab the ledge and do an invincible ledge dash, which if done well enough will not only let Fox be able to throw out an attack that cannot be challenged, but he'll also get center stage from it. There's also characters who can easily stall at the ledge until the opponent allows them to come back on stage by giving up stage control, or if the opponent tries to make something happen, it could end up not working very well in their favor. I just feel like the edge is such a broken tool in Melee and in some ways takes away from having positional advantage. Brawl, I would say, is the black sheep of the Super Smash Bros. Series. Not only did it take roughly 7 years to come out after Melee's release, which is the longest break between Smash games, but the gameplay transition coming from Melee was a huge shock to a lot of people. The addition of tripping was universally hated, but they did have Subspace Emissary, which is the best adventure mode the Smash series has to offer. I think Brawl has more people who either love or hate the game rather than just being okay with it compared to the other titles. The thing I love about Brawl is the advanced techniques they introduced. Even though they got rid of wave dashing and L canceling, I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing because the game was not trying to be Melee 2.0. I really enjoyed the addition of dash attack cancelled up smash, aka Dacus, boost pivot grabbing, and glide tossing. They were simple yet effective techniques that gave the game its own flair. Something else that I thought was really good was momentum cancelling, which is a technique that can help you survive kill moves by inputting an aerial and then fast falling to reduce the knockback you take. I think these additions were a cool way of giving players advanced techniques that didn't have a high tech barrier, but rewarded you for knowing them and using it effectively. The thing I hate about Brawl is the lack of hit stun. Now I'm not saying that Brawl should have melee levels of hit stun or anything like that, but it does feel like landing hits in the game are very unrewarding compared to the other games. There are certain exceptions like chain grabs, certain attack loops, and locks that can be done at even higher percents, but it's something that's few and far between for the majority of the cast. For a lot of the characters, once they do their low percent sequence to give the opponent a decent amount of damage, they basically just have to settle for landing a single hit and getting reads to go further than that. This makes Brawl a very neutral heavy game, which is something many people like about it, and in fact, it's probably a reason why it's some people's favorite Smash game. I on the other hand do appreciate the unique approach they took, but I would much rather have a game with a bit more combos and feeling as though winning neutral is a lot more rewarding and not something you have to do like 10 times to take a stock. Smash 4 was an interesting direction for the series. I feel like 4 was focusing on getting a good middle ground between Melee and Brawl's gameplay. Like the other games, this one would add, remove, and change mechanics. It's the only Smash title that was divided between two different consoles, the 3DS and Wii U. Depending on which console you played on, you got stages and a game mode that was unique to that console. Something else to note is that this is a game where DLC and patch updates became a thing. One thing I love about Smash 4 is the changes they made to the ledge mechanics. I personally believe the ledge was one of the most abused mechanics in the previous titles, and it's great to see them find a healthy way to balance it. Now when you regrab the ledge, your intangibility doesn't refresh, so it's significantly harder to stall at the ledge and makes being in this position more of an actual disadvantage rather than a minor inconvenience. Some people might heavily disagree with me on this, but I also like the removal of edge hogging since it makes edge guarding harder to do. I think this change heavily rewards people who are more efficient at playing off stage and makes the skill gap in this area more apparent. The reason I say this is it's easier and less committal to just time a ledge grab to take your opponent's stock that way and get the edge guard, over actually jumping off stage, chasing them down, and taking their stock through an attack. The thing I hate about Smash 4 was the intackable mechanic. So for those of you that have never played Smash 4, just don't know or don't remember, there was a mechanic in Smash 4 where if you got put into tumble, there's roughly a 1 in 4 chance that your character would do a spiraling animation, which removes your ability to tech for a period of time. This meant that if your opponent reacted to the animation, they'd be able to guarantee a follow-up strictly because of RNG. As someone who heavily benefited from this mechanic, I think it's one of the worst things about the game. It feels unearned just because you truly don't have any control over it once it happens. There's also another intackable mechanic. This one is for stage spikes. If you're too close to the stage while recovering and get hit against it, you will be unable to tech. This one is yet again universal, but it's more easy to control, but it still just feels frustrating to take away the ability to tech from someone. Finally, we get to Smash Ultimate, which is the most recent game of the Smash series. I think this game did a really good job of combining a lot of core mechanics from previous games together, but making it unique in its own way. For example, they brought back directional air dodging from Melee, and at the same time they brought back brawl air dodging when you do a neutral air dodge. They also kept the Smash 4 ledge mechanics, but made them slightly different. The character roster, soundtrack, and stage list is insane, and easily something many people would have spent significantly more on than what it was priced. The thing I love about Smash Ultimate is the jump squat change. Excluding Kazuya, every character in the game has a jump squat of 3 frames. This is a massive change because in previous games, jump squats could vary a lot. Some characters would have a 3-frame jump squat, while others in the exact same game would have one as high as 8 frames. Considering the drastic change, this indirectly buffed a lot of characters that used to have terrible jump squats. I am all for this because I feel like a lot of characters previously had super restrictive movement, and a lot of it was tied to their jump. I think what this did was raise the bar for a lot of characters, and it's one of the main reasons Ultimate doesn't really have any characters that are seen as being outright horrible compared to how the previous titles were. The thing I hate about Smash Ultimate is body blocking and not being able to pass through characters being a thing. Now, I personally don't think the idea of the mechanic itself is bad, but I just feel like the way it was executed was poorly done. The reason being is that it feels like a lot of characters' hitboxes were not compensated to be able to consistently hit characters in spots where they normally would in the previous games. Due to hitboxes not overlapping like they used to, certain attacks just outright whiff sometimes because it's just not possible to put yourself in the right spot to land it. The easiest change to this is to simply make hitboxes a bit better across the board. I don't think they'll ever fully get rid of the problem if they keep the mechanic, but I do think adjusting hitboxes can really go a long way when it comes to avoiding that issue happening. And that is it for the video. Let me know down in the comments things you love and hate about the Smash series. Also a reminder to drop a like on the video and subscribe if you enjoy my content and want to see more of it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.